They say there is one secret the ancestors buried so deep, even the earth forgot it, hidden inside an egg, and they say whoever finds it will never die. But nobody ever asks what the egg costs. If you are new here, subscribe right now. You will not want to miss where this one goes. Long ago, there was a village called Ajuin, nestled between a river that laughed and a mountain that wept. Prosperous, bold, alive. But every year for 7 days the sky turned a sickly gray, the crops refused to grow, and a cold wind that smelled of burial swept through every compound. The elders called it Iku's corridor, death's hallway, and the eldest of them, a man named Tobend, gathered the village each year and said the same words. Every year death passes through. Every year he takes someone, one soul for another year of light. And the people bowed their heads, because what do you do when the man who speaks for the ancestors speaks? In Ajuin there lived a girl named Esanam, daughter of the chief, reckless as wind before a storm and twice as stubborn. Every year she watched Tobend and his circle choose a name written on a dried leaf, burned in the sacred fire. The person whose name burned brightest was gone by morning. No body, no farewell, just gone the way smoke goes. She watched her mother's name burn when she was 6. Her uncle's when she was 9. She was 16 now, and she had made a decision. I will not watch another name burn. There is a way to end this, even if I have to walk into the land of the dead to find it. Her closest friend, a lanky boy named Zuberi, grabbed her arm. Every person who has gone looking for the egg of the undying sun has never returned, he said. Esanam looked at him. Have you ever noticed it is always the elders who say that? And it is never the elders whose names burn. Zuberi had no answer, because she was right. And that silence between them felt like the beginning of something that could not be stopped. Are you already suspicious? Drop a comment, I want to know what you think is really going on. Esanam left before dawn with a clay pot of water, a blade of obsidian and her mother's necklace, a pendant carved in the shape of a cracked egg. At the edge of the village where 3 roads met in red dust, an old woman sat in the earth. No eyes. Just 2 smooth dark stones where eyes should have been, but she was laughing. The chief's daughter walks toward her grave while running from it. Sit, child. Let me tell you the 3 truths about the egg. The first truth, the egg is not hidden, it never was. The second truth, the guardian of the egg is not your enemy. The third truth, she paused, and her stone eyes caught light from somewhere with no source, you must discover yourself. Because if I tell you now, you will turn back. And you must not turn back. She was gone. Not slowly. Just gone the way a candle goes when wind finds it. Only a red and gold feather in the dust. Deep in the forest of Encume, the trees were ancient. Their roots broke the ground like knuckles. Their branches twisted into shapes that, if you stared long enough, looked almost like faces that had been waiting a very long time and were no longer patient. And there he was, a man suspended between 2 great trees by thick ropes of vine, arms outstretched, head bowed. He looked dead. But his chest rose and fell slowly like a tide that had forgotten how to hurry. Who tied you here? Esanam asked. The man lifted his head. His eyes were gold, not golden brown, gold like something poured and set. I did, he said. She stared. You tied yourself. Why? Because this is the only way to hold the darkness back. Every year during Iku's corridor I hang here. My suffering is the seal. My pain is the lock. As long as I endure, the sun returns. Something cold moved through her. Then the name that burns in the fire, the person who disappears, they don't die for the sun. They die for what? They die to feed the elders' ritual. A ritual that has nothing to do with me. Your village made a separate bargain, a darker one. The forest went absolutely quiet. She cut him down. Gold poured from his wrists, not blood, but gold, like honey lit from inside. His name was Danjuma. He had held this vigil for 200 years, since the original keeper was murdered. Murdered by village elders who wanted the power of the egg for themselves. Every generation, he said quietly. The pattern never changes. Only the names. He led her to a great silk cotton tree at the forest's heart. At its roots, half buried in red earth, was an egg. Not golden, not glowing. Cracked, brown, and ordinary, like something that had given up hopping to be found. It was broken the first time an elder killed to protect a lie, Danjuma said. When it breaks completely, the sun will not return for 100 seasons. The only thing that seals these cracks is the truth spoken aloud in the village square. But if the elders try to stop you before you speak, someone must take your place in the fire, if you are still with me like this video right now. Because what happens next nobody saw coming. Esanam returned on the 5th day, the egg hidden against her chest, warm as a second heartbeat. She told Zuberi everything. He listened. His eyes filled, and then he stood and opened the door of his hut. Toben stepped inside. Zuberi, what have you done? He could not look at her. They have my father, 2 years in the elders' compound. They said if I let you find the truth, they would burn his name before morning. She said nothing. He had not chosen the elders over her. He had chosen his father. She understood. She forgave him. And something inside her cracked anyway, like an egg held too tight. Toben smiled the way powerful men smile when they think they have already won. Tomorrow is the 7th day. Your name is already on the leaf. They locked her in the grain hut. Alone, dark. She sat with the cracked egg in her lap, listening to the drums outside, to the footsteps of people who had been afraid so long they mistook their fear for simply being alive. And then the egg whispered, "Child, do you want to know the third truth? Tell me. The sun does not rise because of sacrifice. It rises because it chooses to. Every morning without asking anything from you. The only power the fire ever had was the power you gave it by believing." In the dark of that hut, something moved through Esanam she had no name for, quieter than courage, older than anger, certainty. Now here is the twist nobody expected. Stay with me. The 7th day arrived like a wound. The whole village gathered. Toben stood before the fire pit holding Esanam's name. She was brought forward. She did not struggle. "People of Ajuan," Toben began, arms spread wide with the ease of a man who had confused his authority for truth. "Once more we offer this life so the sun may rise. He is lying to you." Esanam said it clearly, without trembling. "The sun rises because it chooses to. It rose before this village existed and will rise after every one of us is dust. They have been killing your mothers, your fathers, not to feed the sun, but to feed their own power." To silence anyone who saw clearly, she held up the egg, cracked, brown, ordinary, devastating. "Burn the leaf," Toben screamed. Now the guard reached for the torch, and Zuberi stepped into the space between Esanam and the fire, trembling, terrified, standing there anyway. "My name is Zuberi, son of Mensa, held prisoner 2 years by the elders. My father asked questions, just like her mother. Burn us both if you want." But the whole village heard everything. One by one, the people of Ajuan moved forward, not toward Esanam, not toward Zuberi, toward the elders, and the cracks in the egg began to close, not vanish, close. The way a wound heals into a scar. The sky broke open and light, real, golden, warm, flooded the square, not because a name had burned, because a truth had finally been spoken into the open air. But here is what nobody knew. Here is the part that changes everything. 3 days later, when the elders had been cast out and Zuberi's father Mensa had walked out of the compound blinking at 2 years of missed sunlight, Danjuma came to the village square. Eyes still gold, wrists still marked, carrying something wrapped in bark cloth. "I cannot rest until I pass the vigil to the one who earned it." He looked at Esanam. He unwrapped the cloth. Inside, an egg whole, glowing faintly, warm the way a forehead is warm when someone you love rests it against yours. She said yes before he could finish asking. He placed the whole egg in her hands. The cracked egg dissolved, not shattered, dissolved gently into light, into nothing, into the air of the village. Already home, that evening at the edge of the village, the old woman from the crossroads appeared again. Stone eyes, laughing. "You want to know who I am?" "Yes, I am your mother." The world held still. "They burned your name," Esanam whispered. "You died. I was given a choice. A keeper who dies with her work unfinished can stay, not as flesh, not as ghost, as a guardian of the road, waiting for you." She raised her hand close to her daughter's face, not touching. She could not touch anything anymore, just close enough to feel the warmth on the other side. "I always knew it would be you. You were always too stubborn to let a lie stand." She was gone, only a red and gold feather in the dust. The same feather from the crossroads. The same feather. Esanam understood now, quietly and all at once, that her mother had worn in her headwrap the morning they burned her name. The people of Ajuan buried the fire pit and planted a silk cotton tree over it. They called the 7 days Ojo Atido, now the days of truth. And every year, a girl with an uncracked egg warm against her chest walked from village to village, asking questions no one wanted answered, speaking clearly in squares where powerful men had grown comfortable with their lies. The sun rose every morning. It had never needed their deaths. It only ever needed them to be honest. And somewhere at the crossroads, if you are still enough on a quiet morning, you can still hear an old woman with stone eyes, laughing. If this story reached something in you like it, share it with someone who needs to hear it and subscribe. Every week the fire gets lit again. Drop in the comments which twist hit you hardest. I read every single one. Until next time, the drum remembers, even when the ear forgets.